Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, uh, December 29th. This is the last Sunday of 2024. So let's get right into our purpose for today. Let me tell you about my God. I am going to be reading from How Happiness Happens by Max Lucado, and we are on chapter 5. Oops. We're on chapter 5 today, and it is entitled The Fine Art of Saying Hello. Greet one another. Romans 16:16. The boss had all he could take. He'd endured more than any CEO should have to. He decided he'd had it up to here. He'd reached his saturation point. No more, he resolved, and he left his staff a 2.5-page letter that began with this paragraph: I am taking a leave of absence for a month. I am not sure what I am going to do or where I am going, but I will not be here in the office. He's not the first executive who felt like turning his back on a mess and walking out. The fact of his frustration was not unique, but what prompted his frustration is worthy of note. There has been a history around here of people not respecting each other, and as of this moment, it's over. It has gotten to the point where I'm afraid to even leave the office for fear that people will begin to air their differences. I have been afraid to take an extended vacation for myself. Going forward, people are either going to treat each other with respect, dignity, and courtesy, or else I will retire. I have worked too hard and too long to watch this company be torn down. I'll get out and cash out before I allow that to happen. You will treat one another respectfully, or else I am leaving. When I return, I will ask several people in this office whether or not they have been treated more respectfully in my absence. If they have, I will roll up my sleeves and get back to work in earnest. If nothing has changed, I will move on. Many of his employees interacted with transport units on the local docks. The macho world of longshoremen and boat captains had contaminated the culture of respect he sought to promote. The boss kept his word. He didn't return to the premises for a month. When he did, the atmosphere was different. Employees were learning the meaning of the word considerate. The gruff demeanor of the men had modified into a kinder, more thoughtful style of interaction. His ultimatum had its desired effect. Perhaps we need an ultimatum on society, or the rages that rage through people: road rage, airline passenger rage, cell phone rage, checkout rage, social media rage, sideline rage, parking lot rage, car alarm rage, and even rage from drivers who honk at people on crutches. Social media takes rage to a new level. The online banter blisters and bruises. Words we might never say to a person's face, we feel safe to post on the internet. Rudeness has reached the point where we can all relate to the sign I saw in a medical lab. If you are grouchy, rude, impatient, or inconsiderate, there will be a $10 charge just for putting up with you. Yes, a tariff on tactiness that has its appeal. A more practical response might be the one suggested by the Apostle Paul: greet one another with a holy kiss. Romans 16:16. Paul gave identical instructions to other churches. Twice to the Corinthians: give each other a holy kiss when you meet. 1 Corinthians 16:20. And greet each other with a holy kiss. 2 Corinthians 13:12. Then to the theologians: give each other a holy kiss when you meet. 1 Thessalonians 5:26. Peter flew the friendliness flag as well. Greet one another with a kiss of love. 1 Peter 5:14. We tend to overlook these passages. This is especially true of the admonition to the Romans. Paul had just spent 15 chapters guiding his readers through the Yosemite forest of Christian doctrine: salvation by faith, sanctification, perseverance of the saints, predestination, and election. And then in chapter 16, he took up the curious and unexpected crusade of kind greetings. In a meadow of oaks and elms, this command feels like a sapling. Why the big deal? Why should we be careful to greet one another? Out of respect. Respect is a mindfulness of another person's situation. Respect notices the new kid in class and says hello. Respect pauses at the desk of the receptionist and says good morning. Respect refuses to hurry through the checkout line without a genuine good afternoon for the cashier. Respect removes her headphones and greets the fellow passenger. Respect removes his hat to salute the competitor, and respect attempts to remove any awkwardness by welcoming the newcomer to church. Simply greeting one another is not that hard, but it makes a significant difference. British minister J. H. Jolett told the story of a convict from Darlington, England. He had just been released after 3 years in jail when he happened to pass the mayor on the street. Expecting nothing more than cold ostracism from the public, he didn't know how to respond when the mayor paused, tipped his hat, and said in a cheery tone, "Hello, I'm glad to see you. How are you?" The ex-prisoner mumbled a response and went on his way. The city official thought nothing of it until years later the two accidentally met in another city. The mayor didn't remember the man, but the man had never forgotten the mayor. He said, "I want to thank you for what you did for me when I came out of prison." "What did I do?" "You spoke a kind word to me, and it changed my life." What is small to you may be huge to someone else. A greeting in a purist state sense is a gesture of goodwill. When it whether it be a culturally acceptable kiss on the cheek, as in is common in parts of Europe, a bow as is common in Asia, an abrazo beso as is common in Latin America, or a warm handshake as is common in our Western culture, a greeting is an unselfish act. The first beneficiary of a greeting is the one who gives it. A bumper sticker needs to be created that reads, "Huggers are happier." That was the conclusion of the researchers at Pennsylvania State University. Students were divided into two groups, readers and huggers. The huggers were instructed to give or receive a minimum of 5 hugs per day over the course of 4 weeks. The readers were told to record the number of hours each day they spent reading in the same month. Unsurprisingly, the huggers fared better on the happiness scale than the readers. Shh, don't tell the kids in the library. Hugging boosted the joy level of the participants. A similar study linked hugging with a diminished rate of sickness. The more often people hugged, the less likely they were to get sick. Hello, Lucy. Welcome. So greet people for your sake and greet people for their sake. The ungreeted individual never thinks they ignored me because they love me. Just the opposite. Insecurity is often the unhappy child of silence. Anyone who has lingered unnoticed and unaddressed at a party knows the sense of loneliness. Last evening, Dylan and I joined 3 other couples for dinner at one of their homes. We've been friends for decades. We've traveled, played, and raised our families together. As we were dining, the eldest son of the host family stopped by. He's been through a tough stretch, battling depression, struggling through a divorce. We rose to greet him when he entered the room, not because of his recent turmoil, but well, because he is a dear friend to all of us. We chatted and laughed at some stories. He told us about the girls who think it's funny that a bachelor has 2 cats. It was nice, very enjoyable, but memorable? No, at least not to me. Later that evening, he sent this text to his mom. Thank you again for tonight. I've never felt so much love walking into a room before. It was crazy. It felt spiritual. I just had this feeling like I was being greeted in heaven or something. That was really powerful. It's like I was instantly surrounded by all the this unconditional love, and it just brought me to a peace like I never felt before. I think that will stay with me forever. We just never know, do we? We never know when a gesture of kindness will touch a heart. Perhaps that's why Paul urged us to greet everyone. He did not say greet the people you like, or greet the people you know, or greet the people you want to know. He said simply greet each other. Paul modeled his appeal for unprecedented kindness. In this 13 verses prior, he did with his pen what he would have loved to have done with his hand. He mentally went from person to person and greeted each one with a holy greeting. Romans 16:3-16. He saluted 26 people by name and in some cases their families. Now, the book lists a list that he included, and I can't pronounce any of the names, so I'm not going to try. Consider the extent of Paul's greeting. From male to female, Asian to Roman, slave to aristocrat, from the first covert to in Asia to the son of a gospel hero. Paul left no one out. His example urges us to follow suit. No selective greetings allowed. No picking and choosing. Everybody greets everybody. Pecking orders leave people pecked on and picked over. You and I may carry a canteen of water, but we don't know who is thirsty. For that reason, we are called to offer it to everyone. For many years, David Robinson was a member of our congregation. He was and is an icon in the city of San Antonio. He stands 7 foot 1 inch and is a muscular and handsome. He is an NBA career. In his NBA career, he won championships, Olympic gold medals, and MVP awards. He did not attend church to gain attention, but the initial time he entered our sanctuary, he received just that. As he walked down the aisle looking for a place to sit, every head turned to look at him. I almost had to stop my opening remarks. About the time he stepped into the sanctuary, so did another guest. A homeless man wandered in off the street. He was everything David was not: slight, bedraggled, and apparently poor. From my vantage point in the pulpit, I could not help but notice the contrast. The congregation was thrilled and enthralled by the presence of an all star, but with only one exception: no one greeted the street dweller. I'll always be grateful for that one exception. An elder in our church, tender-hearted and kind, made it a point to leave his pew and take a seat next to the drifter. I've wondered if the homeless man was a messenger of sorts, even an angel in disguise, sent by God to test our willingness to receive all God's children. Don't dismiss the value of a sincere salvation. Our Master was seldom more practical than when he said, "When you knock on a door, be courteous in your greeting. Give people a firm handshake, make eye contact, be sincere." At any gathering, you will find two types of people: those who arrive with the attitude that says, "I am so glad to see you," and those with attitude that says, "I am glad you see me." It's not hard to differentiate between the two. Let people know you really care, and then expect the boomerang effect. The Sumter County Church chronology includes more than 100 entries detailing the transactions, changes, and history of churches in the area. Under the date of June 1965 is this unadorned report: announcement of 178,000 donations to Andersonville Methodist Church by New Jersey resident Robert B. Brown, who had been impressed by the congregation's welcome during a one-time visit years earlier. A congregation's welcome many years earlier during a one-time visit so impressed Mr. Brown that he sent a gift from New Jersey to Georgia. Greet one another for your sake. Experience the joy of showing people they matter. Greet each other for their sake. What is small to you may be huge to them. Most of all, greet one another for Jesus' sake. Parents, how do you feel when someone pays attention to your child? When a teacher offers special help or an adult offers individual attention? Don't you appreciate that person for loving your child? So does Jesus. He loves people who loves his kids. In fact, he goes as far as to say, "When you love my kids, you are loving me." Remember his words: "I was a stranger and you made me welcome." Matthew 25, verse 35. Were Jesus to enter a room, every eye would turn and every person would stand. We'd wait in line for the chance to hold his hand and touch his feet. No one would miss the opportunity to welcome our Savior. According to Jesus, we have the opportunity every day. The nervous teenager in the back of the class. When you greet him, you greet Jesus. The single parent who works down the hall. As you make her feel welcome, you make Jesus feel the same. The elderly woman at the grocery store. As you open the door for her, you open the door for Christ. In so far as you did this to one of the least of my brothers, the brothers of mine, you did it to me. Matthew 25, verse 40. By the way, the greatest greeting in history has yet to be given, and you can be certain that salvation won't be heard over a phone or through an email. The greatest of greetings will be issued by Jesus to you in person. You did well. You are a good and loyal servant. Because you were loyal with small things, I will let you care for much greater things. Come and share my joy with me. Matthew 25, verse 23. And that brings us to the end of chapter 5. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. It has been a wonderful time these past Sundays getting to read from this great book. Max Lucado happens to be one of my favorite Christian authors, and I truly enjoy his work and his books. And it's my pleasure to be able to share them with you. And I hope that me reading it to you uh, piques your interest, that you may want to pick up the book and read it for yourself. Good morning, Norma. Welcome. So I will be doing this coming in 2025. I will keep doing it on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock, and I will finish this book out. And then I have two other Max Lucado books that I didn't even realize that I had picked up along the way. And so I will be reading them as well. So I hope everyone is getting ready for New Year's. I will be on New Year's Eve at 11 p.m. With two special guests. I will have Katie from Simply Katie Walks, and I will have Lisa from Stitching It Up. And we will be doing some trivia, doing a few giveaways, and just generally having a little New Year's Eve party to say goodbye to 2024 and to welcome in 2025. So, what does 2025 have in store for you? Have you made any resolutions? Have you set any new goals for yourself? I'm working on both. I don't know that I'll do the resolutions. I think mine will be more of a mindset change where I start thinking about things and looking at things a little differently. I will definitely be doing some goals for 2025. On this channel, I want to continue reaching out and connecting with people. I have enjoyed meeting everyone so much here on YouTube. It has definitely changed my life. It has made me a global person where I have friends now all over the globe and so many right here in the States. But I am interested in so many more connections with more friends. Hey, Mac. Hello, can't stay long because we're on our way to get tea. Okay, well, have a great day. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. So, yesterday I spent time with my daughter and my granddaughter. They're going to be leaving tomorrow morning to go to South Carolina to have Christmas with Grandpa and Nana. And they'll be gone for about a week. Well, I think 5 days. Excuse me. Oh, and then they'll be back. And then my daughter goes back to school on January the 6th. So I will have grandbaby back January 6th. And we will be continuing doing our preschool lessons, and hopefully trying to get her ready for pre-K in the fall. So we have a little less than 6 months of having her here Monday through Friday and teaching her her preschool things. But once we're done with that, it'll be summer. We will have the summer off, and then in the fall, she will start pre-K. And I will be a full-time YouTuber. I will no longer have to limit when I can go live during the daytime or how late I can go live at night, because currently I get up at 5 a.m. to get ready to go and pick her up by 6 a.m. And so my day starts off very early, and therefore I'm tired in the evening and I'm ready to go to bed early. So look for me in 2025 to be increasing my time on YouTube. And like I said, by summertime, I will be doing much more a full-time schedule. Right now, I plan on doing Wednesdays at noon and Sundays at 9 a.m. And I will throw in a word game or a jigsaw puzzle some evenings, or special guests on Saturdays. I actually have two special guests already lined up for January the 4th and January the 11th. Those are Saturdays, and it will be at 7 p.m. The first one will be Craig from Frequently Asked Questions, The Madness, a new gentleman that I've met, relatively new channel to me. And then on January 11th, we will have Adrian, the Indiana backyard gardener, on as our guest. And Adrian actually lives in the town that I went to high school in. So we have a little connection there as far as our area. I know her area, and she knows, where I went to high school at. So that's going to be interesting. She does have a collaboration coming up for 2025 that we will be talking about as well. I have put out the call to several other YouTubers to come on as guests. Don't know exactly when or who will come, but hopefully that will be entertaining and something that you will enjoy and tune into. So I'm going to get ready to go ahead and end this live. I want to keep these reading live streams about to 30 minutes because I don't want people to feel like they're so long that they can't listen to them. And I would really appreciate everyone leaving comments and feedback and letting me know if you're enjoying this series. And if you are, that gives me, encouragement to continue. So let's have a wonderful week. And we will be welcoming in the new year on Wednesday, Tuesday night over to Wednesday morning. Don't miss that. 11 o'clock Tuesday night right here. And then I will see you back next Sunday right here at 9 a.m. when we read chapter 6 of How Happiness Happens by Max Lucado. So y'all have a wonderful week. God loves you, and I love you too.